The construction industry continues to decline. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I've got my morning stein of coffee and I thought we would start the week after the public holiday looking at the PCI, or Performance of Construction Index, from AI Group. And before we go through this here, let's just jump over and have a look at some ABS data, just to give us a bit of perspective with how the construction industry is doing. Now, I know a lot of tradies and people in the game watch my channel, frankly, because we're all interested in where things are heading. We're often hearing one thing in the news, from the real estate spruikers, that it's going well, but, then at the barber, you talk to a mate, you don't know how you're going, oh, it's getting a bit quiet, or, we're okay now, but forward-leading work is slowing down. So it depends on who you talk to. Being busy right now is great. But if the next 3 months are dead, or you got nothing on the books, that's what worries people. That's the scary thing. And the PCI is an important indicator of that, because it's a simple approach. You've got an index of 0 to 100. If it's below 50, it means more people are really either with a negative sentiment, or the businesses are declining or growing or shrinking. Where it's above 50, positive sentiment, or it's growing. And it's a simple approach, but it gives us a good insight, a good holistic overview of sector. Now, if you think these type of videos are important, if they interest you, please share them with your friends and family on social media. Help get the word out, because this is the type of stuff that people need to talk about. It's all well and good getting the headline from, I don't know, Koshi or whatever, going, oh, housing's gone up 1%, boom times are here, without having a bigger picture. A viewer sent me an email, a Facebook message. He said his partner is Hong Kong descent, and I think she was at an auction. And what he was saying was there were two Hong Kong families bidding to get this house down in Melbourne. And it ended up going 700,000 above the reserve. So I don't think anyone at all would be surprised why you would want to get your money out of Hong Kong now and into Australia. I don't know why anyone would be. I mean, I love Hong Kong. I've been there. It is a fantastic city. The nightlife is just insane. But with the Chinese Communist Party strengthening their grip on that country, I can see why people want to get out. But you can also see how that could affect all these auction rates and what we're hearing in the news. So it's an abnormality. It could be a blip. It could be, pushing up this dead cat bounce. Let me know, guys. Please share if you have any other examples like that, because I know it's only anecdotal, but I seem to be hearing it more and more. So here we have the August key figures from the ABS, and this is building approvals in August 2019. So trend is down from July to August 2019 to that 3.9. From August 2018 to 2019, down 25.6%. And you can see here, I mean, look at that. Look at that trend, guys. I'm going to have a shot of coffee. But one thing I want to bring to your attention, and I've shown this in a few videos recently, so bear with me, but this is for people who haven't seen it. This is data from the Foreign Investment Review Board. And the black line there on this chart is the amount of these building approvals that we're looking at, the ABS, that was the result from foreign investment. The blue is foreign investment in new housing. The red is in established housing. And remember, if you're not aware, the CPI doesn't account for the transaction of land or established housing. But all these new houses that are being purchased here will pump up the demand and value for existing houses. So that flows through. Even though it's not counted in CPI, it's going to affect our cost of living. So, and then look at that drop. Look at that insane drop. Now, don't tell me that hasn't overheated a sector. So we've got, trending down for dwelling units approved and private sector houses approved. The trend estimate for total dwelling approvals fell 3.9% in August. The seasonally adjusted estimate for total dwelling approvals fell 1.1% in August. Now, we're heading to the Christmas period, guys. And that, I don't know about your trade, but for us, that was always a very quiet time. December, January, that's when you tell the blokes, you know what, guys, just you burn up all your holiday time. We're quiet now. We can handle the work that's coming in. It's all good. Sometimes if you have like a big project that spans, or something's coming up, you've got the paperwork signed, or you take the punt. from my perspective, you take the punt to start documenting and preparing for the next year. That's what you do. Or, take the kids to their grandparents and just relax for a couple of weeks. So if we're heading down now, we're quieting down now, how's that going to flow on to that part of the year? So let's have a read of the AI Group's Performance of Construction Index. And one thing, we will just jump over here. I have a nice shot of coffee. And the AI Group, just so you're aware, the Australian Industry Group is a peak employer organisation representing traditional, innovative and emerging industry sectors. We are a truly national organisation which has been supporting businesses across Australia for more than 140 years. And they have a whole series of this data that they take every month. So, the Australian Industry Group Housing Industry Association Australian Performance of Construction Index registered 42.6, seasonally adjusted in September. This was down 2 points from the previous month, indicating that the construction industry on aggregate declined more sharply in September. It follows an easing in the industry's rate of contraction in previous months. Okay, so we're in recession. It's still going, well, how many quarters do you count for this if this industry's been in recession? But I mean, here we go, look at this. It's trending down, it's declining, but it's easing. It's easing. So maybe a lot of people have left the industry. September was the 13th consecutive month of contracting conditions in the Australian PCI. Well, yes, with overall industry activity and new orders falling further into negative territory. So what would you think, guys? Do you think this is more evidence that our construction sector is in a recession? Let me know if you're working in the game, guys. How, is this in line with what you're experiencing, what you're seeing? How are forward orders looking coming up to Christmas? Are you flat out? Are you not? Across sectors of the Australian PCI on a trend basis, apartment buildings were again the weakest performing area of activity, declining for an 18th consecutive month with an accelerated rate. The house building sector remained in negative territory, although its pace of decline was the slowest since August last year. I guess that's good. Subdued conditions continued in commercial construction, while engineering construction declined more sharply in line with reports of insufficient new work to replace completed projects. Reports from residential building respondents to the Australian PCI were mixed. Businesses commented on slow market conditions due to soft new orders, low inquiries, and uncertainty surrounding the economic outlook. However, this was balanced to some extent by reports of an improvement in housing market sentiment due to interest rate cuts and some recent improvement in house prices. Okay, will this last? Will this sentiment, will it last? That's the thing. So here we have the Australian PCI. It was at 42.6, and it's broken up into different aspects of this index. So activity is down 3.7 points, and that's low. Remember, 50 is where you want to be. 50 is neutral. 50 is neutral, guys. You want to be above 50. So let's have a look at this chart here. Look at this. Is that, there you go. Look how often it's been below. There's the GFC. Shot up and then down there. So this, I remember this here. See the mining and engineering boom? See that? That is when we started our business, like 2011. And we were doing a whole lot of work for mining. For prefabricated off-site construction for the mining sector. The Daunia Caval Ridge mine, all these proposals. We were flat out. We grew really big. Oh, big for me. I think we had 12 at one stage, counting all of us. Which was a nightmare, frankly, because we had so many part-timers. We had 2 or 3 people sharing jobs, and that was a mistake. I learned the hard way. All the BS they tell you on LinkedIn about employees, you chuck it out the window, guys. It hardens you quick. A few lessons like that harden you quick. But we were doing real well here. We were doing crazy. But it shows you the rest of the sector, because I remember going to functions and we're talking architects, and they'd just be dead. They'd be struggling. And I get the feeling that fees in my profession haven't recovered since this period here. This period here. And look, now we're trending down again. New orders are down as well. Nothing is over 50. Employment is slightly up. Home building activity is slightly up on trend. Apartment activity, look at that, 33. Engineering activity down and commercial activity down. So, construction sectors. Apartment buildings was the weakest performing sector, 33 points, contracting for an 18th month at a steeper rate. The decline in house building activity, 46.2 points, also continued in September, although the sector's rate of contraction has gradually moderated over the past 6 months. Across the major project sectors, activity also remained in negative territory. Commercial construction, 46.7 trend, declined for the 14th month amid subdued overall demand for commercial building projects. Well, yeah, I know in Brisbane, there is so much stock available in the commercial sector right now. Here we go, construction prices and wages. Let's jump to this one. Input price inflation in the Australian PCI remained elevated in September. The input price index fell by 4.2 points to 65.0 points, indicating that cost pressures moderated during the month but remained significant. So there you go. So we've got everything declining, new orders declining, activity declining, but cost pressures are going up. Selling prices continue to contract in September, although at slower rate. The selling price sub-index in the Australian PCI increased by 3.8 points to 41.0 points in September, indicating that pressure on businesses in raising prices has continued on a broad industry basis due to a highly competitive tendering pricing environment. Yes, I would completely agree from that. I feel like it hasn't changed in nearly a decade. The ongoing gap between these prices between these price series in the Australian PCI demonstrates that profit margins remain tight for many businesses in the construction industry. Profit margins you're hearing horror stories of builders going in at very tiny percentages or even negative and then putting the squeeze on their subbies. Let me know in the comments, guys, if that's happened to you as a subby, if you've copped that. Construction activity. Across the construction industry, Australian PCI data for September revealed that the key activity sub-index, 39.1 points, contracted more sharply, while new orders, 42.2 points, fell for a 13th consecutive month. This was associated with a continued decline in deliveries from suppliers. Job declines continued in September amid soft demand at the aggregate level, but the rate of decline in employment was the slowest in 9 months. So construction highlights. For residential builders, falls in approvals, commencement and work in the pipeline is continuing to weigh on workloads. Commercial construction is also detracting from industry-wide performance, although its rate of contraction has not accelerated over recent months. I guess that's a good sign. Businesses operating in the engineering construction sector continue to cite a shortfall of new contracts to replace completed work. This could be related to delays to some stages of existing projects or time lags between development and construction of new infrastructure projects. Construction concerns. Australian PCI survey respondents continue to indicate ongoing pressure from a highly competitive tendering environment and tight margins. Cost pressures in the delivery of construction projects remain a concern for many contractors due to elevated energy costs and a relatively high price for commodities and imported construction materials. Here we go, guys. This is the issue as well with the Australian dollar going down. You know, everyone's saying it's good for our exporters. Yes, it's good for exporting the raw products we send overseas, but all the manufactured building materials we bring in to fuel our house of cards that the Australian economy is built in will go up. So difficulties in filling skilled vacancies, as well as accessing funding for investment and business expansion purposes, were frequently cited. There were also reports that construction spending decisions had been negatively impacted by the slowing economy and the uncertain economic outlook. So here we have, there you go. Most of it's all in the red. Most of it's in the red. And here they will do the breakdown of each of the individual ones. So, we look at the change here in housing, home building new orders, apartment activity. Look at apartments, how bad that's heading. House new orders and home building activity or house building activity is slightly ticked up, but it's still below 50. Still below 50. Well below 50 and trending down. Apartment new orders still below 50. Engineering construction activity trending down. Engineering construction new works and ABS work yet to be done. Trending down. Commercial activity still below 50 and kind of trending level. Commercial new orders trending down. So here you go, guys. Input prices still below. Selling prices, look at that. Average wages slightly heading down, but sitting all over the place. Activity below 50. There we go. So, not much good news. Well, no good news here. Capacity utilization. The rate of capacity utilization stood at 72.5 across the construction industry in September, down from 76% in August, and well below the 12-month average utilization rate of 75.8. This further points to the need for increased investment in machinery and equipment and the upgrading of employee skills to assist in productivity and cost savings and enable the industry to effectively respond to significant upturn in future demand. But there's concern with economic output and access to financing that we've seen there. So, everyone, let me know what you think. Do you think this is, does this align with your personal experience, what you've seen, the people you're talking to, you know, other tradies, other builders, other professionals? Well, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's not really a surprise to me. I don't think everything I've been reading and looking at, it seems to fly into the face of everything else that's been put down in front of us in the media, particularly with the housing boom and how it's a recovery, you know, how it's all shooting up. And then we've got, I'll be talking later today also about wood chip industry, how it's suffering from the Chinese-US trade issues. Now it looks like we've got Turkey invading northern Syria, so there's going to be more issues to this. We've got a lot of domestic uncertainty here in Australia, and then you've got international issues which are going to affect our economy, and the construction industry is looking like it's declining again. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you like the content and want to help me produce more, please, you know, I have a Patreon and Subscribe Start. You can chuck me a couple of bucks. It really helps. Or you can just put up with the advertisements that I'm putting on the ads, on the videos. Anyway, guys, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.